the Fifth Court of Appeals was a 12-1 Democrat majority. Now it's an 8-5 Republican majority. Just like that. Welcome back to Come and Take It. Wow, we are in mid-November now, almost to the end of the year, and what a week it's been. I can't say that I have caught up on sleep. I'm fairly sleep deprived from the last week, but you know what? It's okay. Okay, we are 1 week post-election and just sweeping conservative victories, not just in the state of Texas, but throughout the country. Americans, I would say, resoundingly said, we are done with the woke ideology. We are done with this radical agenda. We are ready to take the country back. Really exciting stuff going on. The spirit, the energy shift is like palpable when I walk around. I feel it within people. They're just done. They're just ready to take their countries back. They're ready to take their states back. They're ready to take their cities back. And obviously this is, looking at everything through a Texas lens. So I want to take a look at the Texas landscape going into the next session starting in January. Now that, elections have taken place, it's official. Obviously, we could look at who won primaries and what type of districts there were, but now everything is said and done. So
it's done.
Donald Trump won the state of Texas by more than 13 points. Also of note in that, he won 12 of 14 different border counties. Donald Trump won against Kamala Harris.
Now that's a lot of damage.
Now, I want you to pay attention to that because you're going to notice a theme in what I'm telling you in the results of voting in this state. So Ted Cruz defeated Colin Allred by 9 points, I believe. Now, I hate being wrong. I never thought that Colin Allred was going to win, mostly because he was not as likable. I didn't like necessarily Robert Francis O'Rourke, but he overall, generally speaking, was not as likable a candidate as Robert Francis Beto, as he likes to call himself, O'Rourke. Obviously, Beto got within 2 points of winning. That did not even, Colin Allred didn't even come close to that. I thought that he would probably lose by 4 or 5 points. So I am happy in this certain circumstance to be wrong. Not always happy to be wrong. I don't love it, but I'm okay with it when I underestimate the people here in the state of Texas and their ability to choose wisely.
You just called to gloat.
So in the Texas House, we have 26 incoming freshman state representatives, including mine, by the way, Paxton impeachment attorney Mitch Little. Now, I want to note most of these people, they are taking over a already Republican seat. It's just there was a bloodbath at the primaries, if you guys remember, mostly on the issue of school choice was what divided people. And so, of course, you had Greg Abbott going out and endorsing all of these school choice candidates, and then, in fact, sometimes not endorsing his own House members because they voted against school choice. And so you had this shift in the primaries that now, of course, led to these 26 incoming state representatives ready to take on the swamp in Austin.
He's ready to fight.
Now, I will add to that, although most of them were just Republicans taking over Republicans, there were a couple of flipped districts. There was a Republican, Denise Villalobos, flipped House District 34, previously represented by a Democrat. Now, again, I told you to pay attention to those 12 of 14 border counties that Donald Trump won. This district is part of Nueces County, 74% Hispanic, and it flipped to a Republican. Okay, here's another one. Republican Don McLaughlin flipped House District 80. This is 82% Hispanic district, and it's like 5 or 6 different counties, I think, that this particular district is drawn to represent. So 82% Hispanic voting for a Republican, 74% Hispanic voting for a Republican, 12 of 14 border counties voting for a Republican president. Are you noticing the trend line here? Here's another one. Texas Senate. All right, that was the Texas House. The Texas Senate. There was another Democrat picked off by a Republican. This was Republican Adam Hinojosa. This was in a district that is 90% Hispanic. Here's the common denominator, y'all. Hispanics are growing tired of Democrat policies because while they are pushing woke policies, they're pushing woke radical agendas, they have forgotten about the middle class who has been decimated. Not only that, okay, of course you have the border, which is why you have all of these border counties going, we can't take 4 more years of Kamala Harris's open borders policy. It's really hard for Kamala Harris to campaign that she will secure the border when she has done nothing but devastate it for 4 years. Who knows that better than people who live at the freaking border? They're seeing it every single day. In many cases, these are people who have land on the border, who have ranches that are overrun by illegals. They're going in there, they're destroying their crops. They're decimating their land. In some circumstances, they're killing their livestock. So these are people who know firsthand what Kamala Harris's border policy is all about. And they're saying, no, we can't do this anymore. Okay. So it's a mixture of, border Democrats forgetting the middle class. I mean, these are for the most part, middle class families who feel forgotten about by the Biden-Harris regime. And I wouldn't even say forgotten about. I mean, there's just an additional layer when you talk about the border because they're not even forgotten about when it comes to the border. This has just been an intentional crisis, an intentional escalating of an issue that didn't have to be that way. And for so long, I think the Democrats took for granted the Hispanic vote because they positioned themselves as like, we're the pro-immigrant party. We like you and Republicans hate you. And for a while, they were able to like skate by on that. But in most cases, this one included, the Democrats overplay their hand, okay?
We see through your tricks.
They don't know when to just stop. And so claiming that you're pro-immigrant really doesn't do you any good when you are allowing an influx of criminals to just infiltrate our border. When you are allowing an influx of unvetted strangers to invade our country, to invade our state, you don't get to just say, but we're pro-immigrant, but we're the good guys. We like you, and Republicans don't. That it's also just so racist that they just assume that because someone maybe has darker skin or because their last name might be Gonzales, because, they have some certain characteristic about them, that they're all of a sudden pro-illegal immigration. I mean, you have many Hispanic families in the state of Texas, across the country, but let's take in the state of Texas, who are, they're Hispanic, they have dark skin, they have a name that you can tell that they're Hispanic. But guess what, guys? They're American citizens. Just like all American citizens, they don't want their country overrun by criminals. It's really that simple. Or they're legal, they're legal immigrants. Or they're legal immigrants and they did it the right way. They did it the right way. And they have a problem with seemingly an entire party tell them, no, it's okay that they did this the wrong way. They didn't wait in line like you. They actually cut the line. And instead of being punished for that, we're actually going to celebrate it. We're actually going to give them more resources than you got for doing it the right way, right? So the Democrats were overplaying their hand at the border and thinking that just because someone had dark skin, that they would agree with that they would vote for the D. Didn't happen this time around because people who are living in this crisis are like, I don't care if their skin is brown or black or purple or white or pink. All I know is that this has to stop. The border has to be closed. Not to mention, we can't afford to feed our families. And you guys don't seem to care at all about the position that you've put us in right now. So clearly there is a shift. There is an awakening within the Hispanic community. I mean, when you think about, and I'm like, well, my last name is Gonzalez, so I can talk a little bit about this. Okay, what matters to the Hispanic community overall, generally speaking, is God, family, and country, in that order. And when you think about how far the Democrat Party has strayed from those three things, God, they listen, I'm going to tread really carefully here on what I say. I don't hear anything about God from the Democrat Party. What I hear sometimes is the exact opposite. Instead of worshiping God, they worship their ideology. Okay? I'll leave that there. How about family? They want to decimate the nuclear family. They want to sterilize a generation. They want to convince people that they don't need the nuclear family. They don't even want people having children because of climate. So they're not about family either. And let's see, country. Well, I'll let you put two and two together on how much they care about the country that they have, of course, opened up to whoever wants to come in through the southern border, how much they care about the country through all of their funneling of your hard-earned taxpayer money to other countries to fight wars that you have no business in.
Why are we still doing that?
I mean, I could go on, but I think you're putting up what I'm putting down, and I think that Hispanics are finding a new home, or maybe just a new hope. Maybe they're not convinced yet that conservatives are for them. But they're hopeful that maybe they can find a new home within the conservative community because it just simply aligns more with their values. And maybe it took 10 to 20 million unvetted illegals and inflation and gas prices, out of control for them to understand that. But I think that there is an awakening happening.
Hey there, folks. Chris Salcedo here from the Salcedo Storm podcast. As your friendly, liberty-loving Latino, I bring you a mix of engaging discussions to help us fight for our families, our state, and our conservative values. Tune in weekdays wherever you listen to podcasts.
Not just in the state of Texas, but within the entire country. So it was not only the Texas House and the Texas Senate where there was a reckoning, actually. We had Republicans flipping 23 Democrat-held seats in 5 appellate courts across the state. So Republicans won 25 of 26 contested courts of appeals races on the ballot. That's like huge. That's unheard of. I mean, it cannot be overstated how insane that shift is. So the biggest change, let's go through some of these changes at more of like a micro level here. So the biggest change happened in the 5th Court of Appeals, which is in Dallas. Republicans flipped 7 seats, including the Chief Justice bench. This was won by JJ Coach. This moves the 5th Court of Appeals court from, get this, the 5th Court of Appeals was a 12-1 Democrat majority. Now it's an 8-5 Republican majority. Just like that. Just like that. That's all it takes is one election. And if you don't do what the American people, what Texans elected you to do, it could be over for you guys. Just like that. Whether you're Democrat, Republican, it doesn't matter. In this case, it's Democrats. But Republicans need to be on notice too. And I think they were at the primaries. Republicans need to be on notice too. Your majority can end like that. So in the 1st and 14th Courts of Appeals, this is down in Houston, so Harris County, which is, I would not exactly say that is a red area, okay? Republicans won 10 seats held by Democrats, 5 of them in each of these courts. Okay? These are 9-member courts. They each won 5. Majority's there. They also flipped 3 seats in the 4th Court of Appeals in San Antonio and the 13th Court of Appeals in Corpus Christi.
That, and there's a lot of chairs.
Guys, I'm telling you, there's a shift happening. There is a shift happening. Okay. Now, I found this interesting. Bloomberg Law wrote an article, and they wanted to give credit to the political action group Judicial Fairness PAC. They wanted to give all the credit to that particular PAC. Elon Musk has been its top funder, and they were like, well, there are a lot of gains, Republican gains here in these courts. It's because of this PAC, which is fine. I mean, that, like, listen, money moves things in politics, like it or not. You can like it or not. I don't particularly love it, but it is what it is right now, okay? But it's just so funny to me because one of the Democrats who lost, this is Justice Ken Mulberg, he told the Bloomberg, he told the outlet, major corporate interests were successful in securing the judges they want, and I'm glad to be unwanted by this group. Oh, okay. Isn't it so funny how it's always, oh, this is major corporate interests, or, oh, they're for big corporations, or my favorite is whenever they use the term dark money. Oh, this is dark money. And they use all these mean, scary names when it's a Republican, or, can we call Elon Musk a Republican? I don't even think you can call him, just perceived to be a Republican or perceived to believe in things like the Constitution. Oh no, that's dark money. Now, on the other hand, when you have these PACs that receive millions of dollars from people like George Soros, they don't have a problem with it. It's not like, oh, this is major corporate interests. I don't want to be a part of that dark money. They never say that when it's George Soros donating millions of dollars into the Texas Majority PAC, which is run by the aforementioned Beto O'Rourke, Robert Francis O'Rourke. I give him too much credit by allowing him to go by his self-proclaimed nickname. His name is Robert Francis, and it shows, okay? So they don't seem to have a problem when it's a Democrat pouring millions of dollars into a race. They didn't seem to have a problem when Chuck Schumer promised $100 million against Ted Cruz to get him ousted. Chuck Schumer isn't a Texan, obviously. He doesn't live here. His values are not our values. But he still put $100 million. I don't think I heard any of these Democrats whining and complaining that there was all this corporate money, dark money, corporate interests. Oh, boo-hoo, I don't want to be part of that. It is just so funny to me. There's such a double standard there. Now that they've been defeated with the same type of money that probably helped them once, it's corporate interests. Like, give me a break. Go cry me a river. Hold on. That's the world's smallest violin playing just for you. Get over it. So to round out the results, okay, Republicans also swept statewide judicial races. They won all 3 Texas Supreme Court seats that were up for election and all 3 of those Court of Criminal Appeals seats. Now, remember, the Court of Criminal Appeals, the CCA seats, those were crucial. Now, they were held, I believe all 3 of them were held by Republicans. But I will say this. These seats were crucial, according to the Texas Attorney General, Ken Paxton, because he has long said that this particular court made a ruling that prevents him from investigating voter fraud in the state of Texas. They determined that it was not within his purview to investigate voter fraud. So he had like 900 cases, open cases, that he was trying to investigate of voter fraud just here in this state, and they disallowed him from doing that. So bringing on new people in the Court of Criminal Appeals will hopefully set that straight so that perhaps we could investigate voter fraud. That would be good, right? Can we all agree that we should be doing that? And if you have Democrat George Soros installed DAs who don't want to investigate that. Certainly we should have our top dog on the matter, don't you think? Well, hopefully now that will be set into motion because we do have the people who just won in the primaries, and they primaried these Republican judges. They just won in the general, so they will go in. And this is probably the most humorous part of last week. Here in the state of Texas, Republicans were so successful that the Texas Democrat Party chairman announced shortly after the election that he's resigning. He was like, I can't compete with this. They just demolished us. I'm just going to go ahead and put in my 2 weeks. So a new time is upon us. The makeup everywhere in the state for state officials is completely changed. And people have chosen more, like they have said, the people of Texas have said, we want more conservatism. You can like it or you cannot like it. But that is what the election showed. All right. Which means come January, the new Texas House with these incoming freshmen will have a choice to make. They have to elect a new speaker to represent them. Now, do you think after Texans resoundingly chose conservatives and conservative ideologies, or Republicans, whatever you want to call them, do you think Texans want a speaker who will give power to Democrats? Do you think these same voters who just overwhelmingly voted for this, do you think these same voters want someone to give Democrats key chairs, committee chair positions? I mean, truly, ask yourself this. I know what I think, which I would always consider to be the more common sense answer, which is of course not. Of course they don't want someone who's going to come in and do that. That would be overriding the will of the people. The will of the people just showed that people in Texas are tired of Democrat policies and they want Republicans to lead. So will Republicans actually lead, or will they choose to abdicate some of their responsibilities and just hand it over to Democrats? Not to mention, remember, Texans just overwhelmingly voted for President Donald Trump. I just said it was like 13 points. Well, in their new decision for the new speaker, don't forget, Donald Trump actually opposed Dade Phelan back in the primaries. So I read a post this was actually a post on the platform formerly known as Twitter from my incoming state rep, Mitch Little. And I thought that it was very well said. So I'm going to read it. It says, he said, please explain to me and my voters how I can support a speaker who President Trump opposed in one of the reddest states in what is now a red country where all of the statewide offices are under Republican control. I need you to show me the PowerPoint that gets us there. The fact is, there isn't one. There is no PowerPoint that could exist that could explain that to you because it's inexplicable, because it doesn't make sense. So we'll see what happens in the coming weeks, because all of these people, I mean, I know there's, it's basically, there's two different coalitions as of right now. It's the Dade Phelan people who don't really want to say anything, I think because they're really scared that they don't have enough people going their way and they don't want to be the Lone Ranger who's like going out on a limb to support Democrat drunk Dade Phelan. I know. Okay. He says he's a Republican. Got it. But then there's David Cook, who I think has his own set of issues too. So it'll be interesting to see in the next couple of weeks how all of this shakes out, because people are going to have to start publicly endorsing someone. This is sneaking up on us. And we need a speaker that represents and is reflective of what the voters just voted for. Keep that in mind. Those of you who will be going to Austin in January. All right. We will keep an eye on it as well, of course. And listen, make sure you hit the like button if you're watching on YouTube. Make sure if you're listening on audio podcast, go hit the 5 stars. You see the little stars there? Okay. Just hit All of them. Hit the very last one there because we deserve no less. Make sure to leave us a review. It helps us in the algorithm. And if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you comment. Let us know what you think of the new Texas House, of what the Texas voters decided. Let us know what you think of this podcast. Come and take it. And we will see you guys here next time. Same time, same place here on Come and Take It.